again. My name is Maria E Hernandez, and on this video I will be explaining my elementary years. My elementary years were in the late 70s and early 80s, which bilingual education was not well defined for the education system in the district I attended. Preschool was not part of my education because my family immigrated from Mexico when I was 6 years old, and so I was placed in first grade. During my elementary years, I recall my education was instructed completely in English. Language arts was imparted in English because I recall a repetitive phrase when we would read "see pug run," "I see pug run." So Spanish language arts was not embedded in the curriculum that the school district had. In my neighborhood, in my community, there was a mixture of both languages. I had neighbors that were second or third generation of Mexican Americans in the community. However, they would primarily speak English among them, and Spanish when we would encounter, encounter each other in the neighborhood. I also had neighbors that were recent immigrants from Mexico and would speak Spanish only when we would see each other. However, my community was predominantly Spanish speaking, which facilitated my speaking, writing, and reading skills in Spanish, even though I didn't have that opportunity at school to develop my native language. I remember never having a Spanish book at home to read at home, except the Bible. That way we would have the Bible. My parents would have the Bible. However, my exposure to Spanish was predominantly verbally and auditory at home and in my community. The only literacy I bear in mind besides the Bible was a magazine from Mexico called Telenovelas. Maybe a lot of us recall that if our parents used to read that, or our family members. I used to get this magazine, or we used to see it from our aunt that she would buy it in Mexico. So that's where we were. I was actually exposed to this Spanish literacy. I used to skim through the magazines and read words that I was able to decode. Then, on the other hand, that school literacy was all done in English at all times. I don't remember any books in Spanish read by the teacher to me or to the class itself. So the school environment itself, it was all English, and because I remember that they would prohibit us from speaking in Spanish. In our school. So English was spoken at all times, even though at home, once I would get to the house, we had to speak Spanish at all times because my parent did not like for us to code switch, and which I understand because he was not able to understand what we actually were saying. So that was basically my elementary years that I do recall. Throughout my elementary all the way through 6th grade, all the classes that I had were in English. Okay, till next time.